We're good to go.
Okay, thank you very much. We have 30 seconds, 20 seconds. We'll call the meeting to order. Thank you, Council, for your attendance tonight. Staff, Arnie, good to see you as well. Nice to have Doug Bartlett back. We'll call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Today's meeting is being held as a virtual meeting due to the declared emergency. This meeting may be streamed live as well as recorded and published on the Southwest Middlesex YouTube and website. Council, is there any member of council declaring a pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on. Additions to agenda, Council? Seeing none, may I have a motion that the regular agenda of council dated May 26 be accepted? Thank you, Mark McGill. Councillor McGill. Councillor Crothers seconded that. All in favor? Carried. Delegations and presentations. Jill, I have in my note that Silver Dove is with us this evening for a brief delegation. Are they on with us?
I don't see them yet.
Okay. Well, I think perhaps what we can do is we'll wait for that. We'll go instead of waiting. We have a significant amount of paperwork in front of us, Council, so we can always track back to that. Jill advised me if they show up, and we'll try to entertain them. The consent agenda, moving on to number 5, is before you. I'll read them out. Council, if you have any concerns at all, or if you wish to address them, please don't hesitate to raise your hand. 5A, Southwest Middlesex vouchers. 5B, Community Safety and Policing Act. Jill, thank you for preparing that. Yes, Councillor Scholdice, go ahead. Oh, Mike, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just wondering when this will take effect, and how will we choose one member between Adelaide, Metcalfe, Newbury, and Southwest Middlesex?
Yeah, I'll pass that on to the lady who constructed the report. Jill, if you could answer Councillor Scholdice.
Sure. So the ministry is looking for a response by June the 7th, but I think, as I mentioned at the last meeting, that's not a hard and fast date. And if it's an acceptable sort of composition, then the terms of reference would be developed. And I would imagine that we might approach it similarly to how we have Conservation Authority, where there would be a representative perhaps for a particular term within that set term, or taking turns. But we won't be the only ones that potentially have a shared representative. We've also would see that with North Middlesex and Lucan Biddulph as the proposal sits right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? We'll move on. 5C, County Intersection Safety, request from Deputy Mayor to include that correspondence. Yes, Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I'd just like to point out that I also sent a letter to Chris Tranny and others. And I like the situation that they have in Appy with the 2 stop signs on either side. I don't recall that they had an accident since then. And so it jumps to your attention a little bit better than just having 1 stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to point that out, that that's something that should be looked at for Haggerty and Longwoods.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you, Martin, for your efforts on that. That's all the communications we can get in are helpful, and I appreciate council support on that. And I was working on that today with the county engineer, and we'll keep, we're looking forward to June to see what the recommendations will be. Moving on, 5D, Cochrane. The letter to Premier Ford regarding Greenway Park. 5E, resolution from Chatham, Kent on the Freedom of Information Protection and Privacy Act. St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, April 2021, meeting highlights. Blue Mountain letter to Premier Ford regarding business recovery. Resolution from the Township of Metechewan, closure of youth justice facility. And resolution of the municipality of West Elgin regarding the Phragmites control. Yes, Councillor Crothers.
Yes, through you, the chair. I would like to support that. We do have quite a Phragmite problem, not only county roads, but municipal roads. There's actually a fairly large patch of it right in Glencoe, but unfortunately, apparently it's not classed as a noxious weed. So that limits a bit of the control over it, apparently. So I would like to support that, and hopefully there's something we can do about it, because this stuff spreads like crazy. Mm-hmm. And there is, as stated, a herbicide now that is approved apparently for aquatic areas such as ditches and wherever. So, I would move to approve that.
Thank you very much. Is there a seconder for that support? Thank you, Councillor Shouldice. Any questions, Council? I'll call yes, Councillor McGill.
I'm a little bit concerned with the one clause in there that's asking for Phragmites to be declared a noxious weed, because that sounds like a good idea, but I think once you declare a weed a noxious weed, it's actually almost illegal for you to have it on your property. You have to do something about controlling it. And this Phragmites is everywhere. It might be very difficult to completely eradicate it. And I'd like to know a little more information about this before I support something like this, because I know there's been places where they've been trying to eradicate Phragmites, and I'd like to know what they've been doing and whether they've had any success at it.
Mark, just as a suggestion, what if we supported the motion with the codicil that we do not want to see it declared a noxious weed for the reasons you've given, but support the intent of some control? Would you find that palatable? Yeah,
I would support that, I think.
Okay, so Councillor Crothers, if we support the resolution from West Elgin with the codicil that we have objections to declaring Phragmites a noxious weed because of the mandatory control on private property, would you support that?
Yeah, I guess that'd be fine. Definitely like to support something. One thing to mention, apparently I'm told in Elgin that they have done quite a good job of controlling it. Mm-hmm. Not maybe totally, but to a fair extent. So I think it's something that needs to be addressed at some point.
There has, but so that's a friendly amendment, Council, that we will support West Elgin's letter of citation there, and we'll put forth a statement with it that we have reservations declaring it a noxious weed for the reasons that Councillor McGill have stated. Any questions on that motion? Yes, Councillor Cal, go ahead.
Just wanted to make a comment that at our last council meeting, we supported a similar Phragmites bylaw, and I can't remember if it came from Leamington or Chatham, but it was in that general vicinity that was working on it, and it addressed the MTO cleaning up along their highways and so on and so forth. So I was just trying to find it, but it doesn't appear to be on the website currently. So I know that we have supported this Phragmites movement in the past.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments, Sarah. Jill and I spoke to this. In West Elgin, there's actually a committee, a Phragmites committee, that's extremely effective. And they have people from the community, council, and county as well. And they report to council on options available and things of that nature. And that, Councillor Crothers is correct in saying that they have made great headway in Elgin County on this. Council, I'll call the question. All in favor of supporting our neighbors, West Elgin, on this? Motion is carried. Thank you. Can we, will someone entertain a motion that the consent agenda from items 5A to 5.1 be accepted as presented?
So moved.
Thanks very much, Deputy Mayor Wilkins. Seconded by Councillor Crothers. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Council will leave our regular council agenda and we'll move into the Committee of Adjustment. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:11. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Any member of council declaring pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll move on. The minutes of the previous committee meeting. If someone would entertain a motion for those to be accepted. Councillor Bartlett, a seconder. Councillor Vink. Any errors or adjustments? Seeing none, I'll call the motion that the minutes of the committee meeting be accepted as presented. Carried. This public meeting, B06 2021 155 Waters Street, regarding Derek and Emily Malcolm. Members of the public wishing to comment on the application have been encouraged to provide written submission to the clerk. Members of the public who do not provide written submission to the clerk in advance of the meeting and decide to provide comment or oral submission while the meeting is ongoing will need to confirm their interest, and in so doing during the comment recess. We'll call the business to order at 7:13. And Stephanie, will you please begin with providing the purpose of this meeting, your recommendations, and any comments from the public? Stephanie, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. All right, so the purpose and effect of the application is to sever an existing townhouse block into 4 separate residential lots, each containing a residential dwelling unit. And additionally, the proposal also seeks to establish an easement over the retained lot and the abutting severed lot in favor of the 2 internal dwelling units of the townhouse block to have legal access to the rear amenity space. The 3 severed lots and the lands to be retained each contained a dwelling unit of a townhouse block and is currently serviced by a shared municipal water connection and shared municipal sanitary connection. Additionally, Unit 1, which you can see on your screen, also contains an existing accessory building. Both the lands to be severed and the lands to be retained have an existing access off of Water Street. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed severance application to create 3 severed lots and 1 retained lot for residential purposes is consistent with the provincial policy statement and the county and Southwest Middlesex official plans, as the proposal is located within a settlement area with access to full municipal services which is generally encouraged within the policy documents. The applicants will be required to establish a separate water and sanitary service from the road to each of the dwellings, as mentioned, they are currently shared. Whereas all services must be directly connected from municipal services to each property. And no exterior changes are being proposed to any of the units at this time. As such, staff are of the opinion that the character of a neighborhood will not change as a result of the consent application. Additionally, staff do not anticipate any adverse negative impacts as a result of the consent application, as the townhouse block already exists. And as mentioned, there will be no visible changes to the subject lands at this time. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed easement is appropriate as it allows the interior units to have legal access to their rear amenity space for maintenance and recreational purposes. Staff note that the residential third density zone requires a minimum lot frontage of 30 meters or 98 feet, a minimum lot area of 200 square meters or 2,153 square feet per dwelling unit. The severed and retained lots exceed the minimum lot area per dwelling unit, and staff are of the opinion that the intent of the required 30 meter frontage is being maintained for the townhouse block as a whole. Additionally, the R3 zone requires a minimum interior side lot setback of 4.5 meters or 9.8 feet, whereas the existing interior side yard setback of the building are 3 meters, 9.8 feet on the east side, 1.13 meters or 3.7 feet, on the west side, and 0 meters for all the shared lot lines. As a condition of the consent application, staff recommend that a minor variance be obtained to address any of the zoning deficiencies. The application was circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. CN Rail has no comment. Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority has no objections to the application. Southwest Middlesex Director of Operations notes that the servicing plan would have to be approved by the municipality. Depending on the complexity of the design, we may need to review the information by an engineer to confirm that it will be operated properly. So it is recommended that the application be approved, subject to the conditions that council will have before them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Jill, are there any remarks from the member? Are they present? Or the applicant? I'm sorry, the applicant will be allowed the opportunity to speak to the application. Jill, is the applicant present?
He is.
Oh, that's good. Yes, hi, how are you there? I don't see a name on the screen there. But
Hi,
Derek, gotcha. Derek, thank you very much for joining us.
thank you very much for thank you very much for having me.
We'll give you the floor. You go ahead.
I didn't have anything particularly formal prepared. I think Stephanie covered all of what I was expecting and all of what her, Greg Storms, and I had covered in a virtual meeting we had done previous to me submitting the application. So I don't have anything of material notice to bring up.
Okay, well, listen, we're delighted to have you, and we appreciate the conversations that you've had with staff. Moving on, council, this gives council the opportunity to ask questions to Greg or Derek, and council, I'll open the floor up. Please raise your hand through the chair. Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Al. What about connection fees? Would they be have to cover normal connection fees for these 4 townhouses?
Greg, perhaps Greg or the planner can answer that. Yeah. Steph,
yeah,
you want to handle that? Greg?
I can jump in there, Alan, just through you to Derek or to Councillor Vink. That's yet to be determined. Some of that will be based on the design that comes from the engineer as far as the, this property is already connected. So, I don't see that we're going to grab for any money here. For me, it's to ensure that the design for the servicing of the building can be isolated, both in sanitary and water. So that's all we're really talking about, and we'll have those discussions with Derek as we move forward.
Okay, thank you, Greg, very much. Council, any further, and thank you, Councilor Vink. Any further questions, Council? Seeing none, are there any oral submissions of delegates, Jill? Item number 4.
Yep, there's no registered delegates to
Okay,
wishing
thank
to
you.
speak
And
to
no
this.
written either, okay. Council, to follow the rules and the agenda, we must have a 4-minute break. We're going to pare it down to 4 minutes and probably convene at 4.5, 5, but just shorten it up a little bit so that we can have some efficiency of time. And thank you, Council. Jill, I'll hand it over to you, and you can put up the notification on the screen that we're in recess. Okay, 7:25, council, we broke off at 7:21. We're back at 7:25. Okay, so we can proceed. Council, we've had our 4-minute break. Jill, have any communications come in to speak to this?
No, we've received no registrations.
Applicant's final remarks, I believe he has perhaps left us or does not wish to speak anymore. I think he's indicated that he was finished. Council, at this point, we require a decision. The chair will now regard motions regarding the application. The recommendation that the planner has given is before you, subject to the 8 conditions that have been laid down by the planner. Is there someone that would entertain the motion to be moved? Councillor Crothers, a seconder. Councillor Cowell. Discussion, council. All in favor? Carried. Council, the next meeting, subject to change, of course, is June 23rd, 2021. I'll declare the committee meeting adjourned. And I have just received notification that the Benjamins will not be with us tonight. They're awaiting some more information, and they'll see us at the next meeting. Okay. We're back. We have the zoning aspects to look after now. The plan of subdivision 39T SM 2001 and zoning bylaw amendment P10 2020. Members of the public wishing to comment on the application have been encouraged to provide written submission to the clerk. Members of the public who do not provide written submission to the clerk in advance of the meeting and decide to provide comment or oral submissions while the meeting is ongoing will need to confirm their interest. And in so doing, the comments recess of the meeting and make their comment submission. I'll call the public meeting of Plan Subdivision 39T SM 2001 and zoning bylaw application P10 2020 to order at 7:28. Stephanie, will you state the purpose of this meeting and your report, recommendations, and any advice or concerns that have been expressed?
Thank you. All right, so the purpose of the subdivision and zoning bylaw amendment applications is to facilitate the development of a residential plan of subdivision with 119 building lots for single detached dwellings, 8 lots for 16 semi-detached dwellings, and a medium density block for future development. Access is proposed from Butte Street, Main Street, and Centerville Drive. As council will recall, the statutory public meeting for both applications was held on September 23rd, 2020. The draft plan of subdivision has been revised since its original configuration. The main revisions to the draft plan since the original submission and the public meeting include the number of single detached dwellings have been reduced from 144 to 119 and to accommodate larger lots. Block 128 is being proposed for a future road connection. If you can see, oh, that's going to be challenging. If you can see my cursor, it's circling around the proposed block 128. And access is no longer being proposed off of Montrose Street at this time. The applicants are proposing an internal cul-de-sac in a way in such a way that it could be changed to a through road in the future should additional property be acquired. And blocks 131 and 132, again, if you can see my cursor here, it's just north of the cul-de-sac on my plan in front of you, is proposed as additional stormwater management / open space. And in support of the draft plan of subdivision, a concurrent zone change application has been filed to rezone the property from the future residential holding provision zone in order to implement the proposed subdivision. Notice of the public meeting was circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act as well. I did mention that we hosted the statutory public meeting on September 23rd, 2020. The following principal concerns were raised by the public during this meeting. So in terms of infrastructure capacity, concerns were raised in regards to if the existing infrastructure, being water, sanitary, and stormwater, will be able to accommodate the proposed development. Subsequent to the public meeting, the proponent provided additional servicing and stormwater management feasibility information, and staff are satisfied with the information provided at this time for the purposes of draft plan approval, with it being noted that further engineering design would be required as part of the draft plan conditions / the subdivision agreement. In terms of road upgrades, concerns were raised in regards to the ability for Butte Street, Montrose Street, and Centerville Road to accommodate the increased amount of traffic. In response, the recommended draft plan conditions would require that Butte Street be upgraded to an urban standard and that Centerville be upgraded to a hard surface, tar and chip, from Main Street to the furthest side of Street A. And as mentioned, Montrose is no longer proposed as an access to this development. In terms of municipal servicing connection for existing development, existing residents along Butte and Montrose had concerns in regards to being required to connect to municipal services once they become available. In response, the recommended draft plan conditions would require the developer to install the necessary servicing to make future connections for existing homes available, and any future connections would occur outside of this subdivision process. In regards to connection to potential future development lands, a concern was raised in regards to the connectivity of the proposal with existing community and potential future development lands. In response, the proposed plan has been amended to include a future road connection at an extension of Street B, which would provide connectivity to any potential future development to the west. In addition, the recommended draft plan conditions would include improvements and urbanization along County Road 80 or Main Street to provide pedestrian and vehicular connectivity. And it is also noted that a connection to the north through Simpson Street is not possible at this time, as the lands are privately owned. In regards to parkland dedication, concerns were raised in regards to the size of the development without any proposed parkland recreational space. In response, the recommended draft plan conditions would require the developer to dedicate 5% of the land within the proposed plan or in an equivalent cash payment in lieu of a dedication of land for park purposes in accordance with the Planning Act. And the proposed stormwater management blocks contain underground chambers for stormwater, which will allow these blocks to also function as outdoor amenity space. Municipal staff are satisfied with this approach. In regards to landscaping buffers, the existing residents abutting the subject lands raised concerns in regards to privacy and requested buffering be put along the property lines. In response, the Southwest Middlesex official plan and zoning bylaw require buffering where future multi-unit dwellings and the low residential density uses abut, but not where low density residential uses abut other low density residential uses. Additionally, the recommended draft plan conditions would require that buffering, fencing, landscaping, and lighting be addressed as part of the subdivision agreement. In regards to proximity to industrial uses, through the circulation process, the former chief building official raised a concern in regards to the development being located in close proximity to industrial uses on the other side of Main Street. In response, subsequent to the public meeting, the agent completed a D6 series guidelines assessment, which concluded that the proposed development exceeds the minimum setback requirements from the two existing industrial uses, being the gas station at 87 Main Street, which is classified as a Class 1 industrial use requiring a 20-meter setback, and Penta Equipment Inc. at 73 Main Street, which is classified as a Class 2 industrial use and requires a 70-meter setback. And no additional mitigation measures to address compatibility were recommended by the assessment study. Minimum distance separation. So a concern was raised in regards to the impacts on surrounding agricultural uses from an MDS perspective as a result of the development. And as a response, in consultation with OMAFRA, it was confirmed that a new subdivision within a settlement area designated for residential is not subject to the MDS1 calculation. However, agricultural properties in close proximity to the settlement area will continue to be subject to MDS2. And in order to mitigate potential land use compatibility issues, the recommended draft plan conditions would require a warning clause to be included within the subdivision agreement to make future residents aware of potential odor, noise, dust as a result of nearby agricultural operations. In regards to agency comments, through this round of circulation, staff received 2 new agency comments in addition to the previous agency comments received in September. One was from Bell Canada, who stated that they are hereby informing the municipality that we have not been able to come to an agreement with the owner of the above noted development with respect to providing wireline communications and services. And as a result, Bell Canada will not be servicing the noted development. However, this does not preclude the possibility of Bell Canada providing service to subsequent phases and or future developments. And the second agency comment received was from CN Rail, and they noted no comments or concerns. So subsequently to writing the planning report, staff did receive 3 written submissions from members of the public. They have all registered to join us this evening to speak to their written submissions. So we will hear from them in a little bit. So the provincial policy statement, County of Middlesex official plan, and Southwest Middlesex official plan all encourage development within settlement area boundaries on full municipal services. The subject lands are located within the settlement area of Glencoe and will be fully serviced with municipal infrastructure. The lands are designated as residential within the Southwest Middlesex official plan, zoned future residential within the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw, and are generally intended for residential development. Staff are of the opinion that the development is proposed to be located adjacent to existing built-up area, has compact form, mix of uses and densities that allow for the efficient use of the lands. The lots for the single detached dwellings range in size with frontages from 15 meters to 26 meters, with areas ranging from 465 square meters to 936 square meters. And the lots for the semi-detached dwellings have frontages of 10.5 meters per dwelling unit and lot areas of 441 meters squared per dwelling unit. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed rezoning application is appropriate for the subject lands, as the minimum lot frontage and minimum lot areas have been met or exceeded for both the single detached dwellings and the semi-detached dwellings. Staff note that a concept plan has not been provided for the multi-unit block at this time, and as such have placed a holding provision on the subject lands, which prevents the proposed residential third density zoning to come into effect until the completion of a site plan control application. Further zoning analysis of the proposed multi-unit block will occur at the time of the subsequent Planning Act application. And as part of the rezoning application, staff recommend that a holding provision apply to the lands as a whole, which requires the completion of a subdivision agreement prior to the removal of the holding symbol. And that's in order to ensure proper and orderly development. And as mentioned, an additional holding provision will be placed on the medium density block.
Okay.
In regards to the relationship to the strategic plan, I should also mention that this application is related to the target of an increase of 320 homes in the municipality over a 16-year period of 4 terms of council. So it is recommended that the plan of subdivision be endorsed and forwarded to the County of Middlesex for consideration and approval, and that the zoning bylaw amendment application be granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. The applicant, John Dobie, and his agent, Kevin Moniz, have registered. And this will be their opportunity to speak. John, or Kevin, or if one would like to introduce the other, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew and Council. I believe John's on, but or watching, but I'll be speaking on his behalf, I think, tonight. So, yeah, nothing substantial to add. Wanted to thank Stephanie for the thorough introduction to the development again, and just wanted to add 2 quick notes. One being the phase 1 development at the northwest will be serviced through the Butte Street corridor. So phase 1 access will be through the Butte Street corridor only, obviously without any other connections to the existing streets. And we wanted to add that Bell, and the discussions with Bell Canada are not are just actually beginning, so we're not sure why the comment from them was that they wouldn't be servicing these lands. I think preliminary discussions, actually they told us that discussions on Bell servicing is premature until draft plan of subdivision is granted. So additionally, John has been in contact with North Frontenac, who are installing fiber optic in the area. So discussions have been started with them, and certainly interested in continuing discussions with Bell as well. Just premature at this time until we have draft plan of subdivision.
Okay. Yep. Are you finished there, Dan? Are you? Yep. Or Kevin, are you finished?
That's everything. Yes. Thanks.
Cut you off there. Yep. No, I just didn't want to cut you off, Kevin. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kevin. Always lots of work and lots of paper in these events. Members' remarks from council, if you would like to, we're at that point in our agenda where members have the opportunity to ask Kevin questions, and we'll start with Councillor Crothers. Go ahead.
Yes, for you, Chair, to Kevin. Just for information, Butte Street, according to the map here, there's 2 lines on each side. Now it shows 20.117 meters, about 66 feet total. Just wondering why the 2 lines on each side. Just curious.
Yep. Kevin, yes. Kevin, can you address the question?
I'll do my best. I believe those parts, the 2 lines are, I believe, road widenings. So the current, I'm not sure, I can't confirm which, where the ownership is there, but those are previous parts on legal plans. So those parcels exist. I'm thinking they're for the sake of road widening. I don't know, Stephanie, if you can comment any further on that.
Stephanie, go ahead.
Through the mayor, I don't have any further comment. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I'd have to confirm through our surveying division or the legal department who, if the municipality currently owns those parts or if they're still retained by those lots. But by looking at them, I would say they were created with the intention of road widening for this very purpose.
Okay. Well, Councillor Crothers, I'm not sure whether you're satisfied with that answer, but we'll certainly endeavor to find out information on it. Council, go ahead. Councillor Vink, I see your hand.
Yes, Mayor Allen, I'd just like to clarify on Butte Street. And I've talked to a few people in regards to that. It's only 46 feet. I believe it was before amalgamation, but those owners received either 10 or 11 feet from the municipality. So this street is not as wide as mountain roads for that reason. So that extra line is actually owned by the owners along Butte Street.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you, Councillor Vink. We certainly don't dispute that, but we'll certainly make sure we confirm that as well. Council, we've heard from two councillors. Are there any other questions you'd like to direct to Kevin? Yes, Councillor Vink, one more question, a follow-up.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Allen. You spoke about the low density, I believe Stephanie did, being on hold. Would the low density have to be completed before you went to phase 2?
Thank you, Kevin. If you could address that in terms of scheduling, or Stephanie.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll Councillor Vink, I think your question is in regard to the holding provision on the medium density block 129. Yes. Is that correct? So, yes. So Stephanie was proposing that a holding provision be placed on that block, which would prevent it from being developed until a site plan approval application be submitted. So that's standard process. I think the subdivision process creates this block of land and applies the medium density zoning to it. However, all the details in regards to housing forms, the site layout, that kind of stuff would be provided at the site plan approval stage. So this simply holds that block from development until that site plan approval application is granted.
Thank you, Kevin. Council, last call for questions. Seeing none, we'll follow the procedure in our agenda. Jill, oral submissions of delegates, are there any?
Yes, Mayor Mayhew. So we've got some folks that have registered, and I believe that Mr. Benson.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Branson, sorry, is now in the meeting.
All right. Well, we'll take them, and I see you have Gardner and Beecroft as well. So how about we take them in that order, then Branson, Gardner, and Beecroft. Mr. Branson, if he's with us, is he on our screen now? David, are you with us? Do you want to unmute there?
I'm unmuted right next thing I go with.
Yeah, David, thank you very much for joining Southwest Middlesex Council tonight. We're pleased to have you. David, I just want to remind you, according to our procedure by law, 5 minutes is allotted.
5 minutes?
5 minutes is allotted to each.
10 minutes is allowed in the
David, if you just allow me to finish there, David, 5 minutes is what our procedure by law dictates. So we certainly want to avoid repetition. And we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to speak. So we'll watch the clock, and we're certainly we'll give you some alert if you want to. If it comes to the point of having to paraphrase, please do so. But yes, 5 minutes is our procedure by law, and we have to pay tribute to that. So go ahead, Mr. Branson, when you're ready.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Well, Kevin Moen has just said that the part lots with a road widening, that's not correct. The part lots were given to somebody in years ago on Boot Street, and the 100 Main Street doesn't have it. It's 13 and a half meters at the end of Boot Street and 10 and a half feet plus at the Main Street end. So that clarify that situation. It's on the Middlesex maps. If you click on each one, you will find out exactly what size it is. But I have a lot of technical stuff. From the county engineer, the urbanized county Main Street cross-section should be extended past the limits of Street B. Additionally, engineering drawings should be provided for the intersection of Butte Main Parkhouse to address potential traffic issues at the offset intersection. As discussed, the staging of road improvements can be discussed to suit the phasing of the subdivision. It is recommended that phasing be staged to complete 2 road connections from the subdivision county road for the purposes of emergency access as soon as practical. The county will approve grading and intersection design. This report from the county engineer is from the first application and from the second. This is the crux of my concerns. One road, Butte Street, in and out will not be safe. Intersection redesigning or not. Putting a road in from the opposite industrial road is too far away and will occur only in phase 2. Butte Street should not be used for the subdivision. In all these arguments, no one has addressed this as a concern from Chris Trainey, the engineer. From the Dobie application, number 18, that the developer construct all rights of way and to municipal standards and the satisfaction of the municipality, including the construction Butte and Centerville Drive. 20, that the engineered drawings be provided for the intersection of Butte Main Parkhouse to address potential traffic usage issues at the offset intersection to the satisfaction of the municipality and the county. From the Dobie application number 2, that the development of the draft plan of subdivision shall be undertaken in phases to satisfaction of the municipality. And number 3, no development of the plan of the subdivision may begin until all external infrastructure and services required for the development of the plan of subdivision are in place, including water and sewage. Shall, in legal terms, is enforceable, may is not. So he can put anything he wants to, anytime he wants to. Comments from Stephanie, comments from people. Comments were overall not in favor of the development. Of the 2 that were, 1 family has since moved. On December 21, 2020, in winter, Mona's observed, quote unquote, the Warwick fuel site was, quote unquote, not a publicly used facility and generates little traffic. What percentage of the time was spent observing the gas bar as opposed to Penta? This is not only a commercial fuel pump, public use is available. From commercial bulk water trucks to lawnmowers, this generates a lot more traffic than 1 ambulance. 1 ambulance does not make it little used. The building does look like a shed, but that does not mean it is permanent. Also, this area is also used for a turnaround, police cars being an example. I have from the analysis, what you're talking about this page 10, I'll go from the beginning to the end. Staff note that a concept plan has not been provided, development obligations and responsibilities. What exactly does that mean? She mentioned it, I don't know what it is. Road upgrades. Concerns were raised, quote, concerns were raised in regards to the ability for Butte Street, Montrose and Centerville to accommodate increased amount of traffic, unquote. Quote, response, the recommended draft plan conditions will require that Butte Street be upgraded to an urban standard and that Centerville be upgraded to a hard surface, bracket, tar and chip, bracket, from Main Street to the furthest side of Street A. Montrose is no longer a proposed access to the development at this time. Urban standards mean just that, urban standards, a minimum of paved and curbed road surface. Montrose and Butte are not up to the standards. The urban standards should have been implemented before this. Sidewalks, I've been told, but have sidewalks in, and being incorporated on Butte would mean them be installed under cars. There are no sidewalks in South Street, Tanya Drive, Ewan, and some on Elgin, to name just a few. At the end of Butte Street, it's only 13.5 meters wide, 44 feet. closing Montrose to traffic with both vehicles and Butte. Butte Street should not be a through street. It should be a cul-de-sac. Why are there two storm water areas in Montrose, 132 and 131? Why not one? That would be the reason for future purchase for property alongside Block 132. Stormwater Block 132 added to that future purchase would take Montrose out of the temporary cul-de-sac status and back through to a through street. And still in phase 2, not 1. The owner of that property has indicated that this will not happen. A traffic study should have been done. When a vehicle is traveling south on Main and turning left onto Parkhouse, invariably a vehicle that is behind will pass on the inside using the parking lane. This also happens from Parkhouse, but not as well often. A vehicle will turn left onto Main, another vehicle right on.
David, I'm going to just, out of courtesy, David, I'm going to ask you to summarize at this point. I could cut you off now, but
I have one paragraph left.
Okay, so I want you to summarize this very quickly and try to get this done within 30 to 45 seconds if you could. Thanks.
I can do that, yes. The number of lots in the first Moniz study, there were 141, 16, and 98, making 255 units, which is 707 people. In the first Dobie application, it was changed to 144, 16, 52, 212 units, 588 people. In the second Moniz study, 119, 16, 95 in the townhouses, 230 units, 637 people. In the second Dobie application, 119, 16, and 0, making 135 units, 374 people. The number of lots in the first study and application were enough for the services to handle. Now there are fewer lots in double stormwater areas. If the first study and application were enough, then why change? The number of units were made less, not because of increased lot frontage, but because of the stormwater handling.
Okay, David, I think that's a good place to end, okay?
I finished.
All right. Thank you again for your presence. We'll take that into consideration. You had some technical information there. As you know, we rely very much on our professional engineers in that to give us advice like that, but those comments that you've made will be taken into consideration. The next person to speak regarding this application will be Gardner, and we are pleased to have Heather with us. Heather, how are you? You unmute yourself.
It's actually going to be my sister Nancy, who's also.
Oh, is it Nancy? Okay.
Yeah, Nancy will be the one speaking.
All right, that's great. Okay, Nancy, thank you for being with us. We'll let you begin at 7:58, and as per the other speaker, we allow 5 minutes as per our procedure bylaw, and we'll certainly try to accommodate you. If you can paraphrase or avoid repetition, it'd be great. So go ahead.
Yeah,
Nancy.
so obviously I'm here with Dad and listening in, and as we received the agenda package this afternoon around 3 o'clock, there was some additional information as Stephanie's report was in there that gave some additional answers to some of the questions that we had submitted in our written submission due yesterday. So there are some answers that we've received through that. I guess out of general curiosity, one of the things that may support other homeowners going through the same process is to share that a report with them in advance, because there is a lot of information in there that can assist them going forward. In particular, for this particular questioning period, we had some questions in regards to why some of the changes were made to the proposal as it was different from the original one that we received back in September, as to Stephanie's note. In particular, there's an item that Stephanie read in her landscape buffer. If there could be clarity given to us around what low density residential uses are that abut other low density in layman's terms, to help answer that question for my dad. Is he considered low density, and would it be abutting low density? And so would there be a barrier or not? So that would be the main question. Most of our other answers have been provided in Stephanie's report. Obviously, it's great for the town to grow. Further to some of the other delegates you'll hear, it's just making sure that we do it in a wise way that doesn't negatively impact the people who have lived there and or live there have for some time. It's great for a jurisdiction to grow It's great if it's at the other end of town away from your own house, but when it's next door to you, you want to make sure that what you see and what you feel is reflective and isn't negatively impacting your own space. And so reports are great. The information that you mailed is written in legal terms as it must be, but for the average person, you're not really sure how this actually impacts you until you see the bulldozer or those tools or those mechanics pull in. And so if there's a point at some point, or there's a process that we've missed to be able to truly understand how this impacts you beside you. I've been at Dad's house in the last month a fair bit. And when you look at a field today and you consider looking across a field and seeing about 17 houses, you wonder if it's worth staying in the community or what that impact is. And so I would encourage you to kind of put yourselves in the shoes of somebody who lives there and to answer some of the questions in terms of how it would impact your own personal space.
Okay. Thank you, Nance. I don't want to cut you off. You're okay there? Good.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. I just kind of passionate about this one.
I bet you are. Well, no problem. And that's good. Thank you very much, Nancy. There is a portion of this process where the applicant will give final remarks, and I trust that they may have jotted down a few of those questions. And if you continue on listening, there will be a section where more information may possibly come forward. And thank you again. We will move on to Sharon and Ken Beecroft, if they're with us now. Jill, you let them in if you could. And Ken, if you can hear me, just unmute.
We are here.
Good. Oh, yeah, Sharon, how are you doing there? Sharon, as the other candidates were told, our procedural bylaw allows 5 minutes for public comment. We certainly will try to accommodate you, so we ask that you abbreviate and avoid repetition. And I'll let you or Ken begin. It's 8:03, and at about 8:08, I might give you just a heads up there, okay? But we'll make sure that you can continue on for, we'll extend the courtesy for you to finish your comment.
Okay.
So go ahead, Sharon, if you would.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, my name's Sharon Beecroft, and my husband Ken and I live at 64 Main Street, Glencoe. We do realize that urban growth is important for the municipality. Having said that, we do have a few, we do have some concerns after reviewing the latest proposal of this plan of subdivision. The recent proposal for significant development in the south end of Glencoe is a minimal change from what was first put forward in September of 2020, and does little to address the concerns of area residents, which were identified at that time. Although Stephanie has shown now that there are a few concessions that have been made since writing this. Community integration and access need to be a guide for developers to follow, but the current proposal as it is presented does not adequately address this important issue. No provisions have been provided for community integration to the north. And I know there is a problem there, but I think it's very important that we connect to the north, and somehow. There is not even a pedestrian walkway shown on this proposal. This is one of our most important concerns, that no connectivity to Simpson Street, especially access to Simpson Park and the Glencoe District High School. Without a connection, new residents will be deterred from using the park because it is beyond walking distance by going around the subdivision to Main Street. This would fulfill the recommendations of the community improvement plan. The proposed development should employ innovative and creative urban design techniques to maintain the neighborhood's character that will be compatible with Southwest Middlesex Community Improvement Plan. Also, there is a demonstrated need in Southwest Middlesex for senior housing. There are a few options for seniors who wish to downsize and stay in the community. Instead of Block 129 focusing on perhaps multifamily dwellings, why not senior housing? This would be a positive step. We do acknowledge the developer's concession for connection to future development to the west of Street A, Block 128. Developers should avoid the first inclination toward a narrow vision. Again, community integration should be a prime consideration. We are concerned that services such as storm sewers and sanitary sewers will overload the already extended systems that are known. There is no existing drainage in place at this end. How will this affect the municipal drain watersheds, particularly the Graham Drain? The Graham Drain is directly located on some of the properties at Centerville Drive and Main Street, including ours. There is already a drainage issue at the south end of this proposal near Centerville Drive. This area floods during a rain event. As we had mentioned in September, there is concern about the cemetery bordering the proposal. So we're hoping that that's taken into consideration. This is of concern to the Glencoe District Historical Society. As mentioned in our previous submission, we continue to stress that Centerville Drive is a rural gravel road that is used by farmers with heavy farm equipment. And I do see that Stephanie said it's going to be tar and chipped. Direct access to Centerville Drive by means of the proposed long straight drag strip of Street A should be avoided. There are many reasons to avoid this proposed intersection at Centerville Drive. The resulting traffic flow from Street A via Centerville Drive to Main Street changes the environmental characteristics of this area. The neighboring residents propose that Street A either be a cul-de-sac at the southern portion or be eliminated at Street B. Having not being able to do that, I think it's very important to have traffic calming measures considered. In conclusion, regarding this issue, maintaining the existing nature of Centerville Drive will go a long way in maintaining the environmental concerns of area residents. Lighting should be consistent too, with low night light requirements and traffic calming measures as mentioned on Street A. We request to know the timelines for the development of the blocks as shown on the proposed plan as phases 1 and 2. Thank you very much. I actually beat 5 minutes.
Yeah, you did. 4.5 minutes, Sharon. You did very, very well. Ken, how are you tonight?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as I say, please stay with us. I'm not sure what Mr. Monez's remarks are going to be, but we sometimes they have their ears tuned to these concerns, and they can be answered.
Okay.
Jill, I don't think there's any more. I think we've gone through the 3. We'll have written submissions. We have a comment recess according to our procedure. And we'll have that for 5 minutes, and we'll keep alert, council, and we'll let Jill put up the notification that we're on recess, and we will convene then. At 8:08, we'll convene at 8:13. Okay. Jill, we're just about there. We'll wait for Martin to come on, and there he is. During the recess, Jill, were there any oral submissions from other participants registered?
No, Mayor Mayhew, there were not.
Okay, thank you very much. In the process of this this part of the agenda, the applicant's final remarks. Kevin, if you're with us, please unmute. Yep. Thank you very much. You've heard the concerns expressed. I'm sure you were with us during that time. And Kevin, this gives you an opportunity to tie up the loose ends or address any concerns or give us council further information.
Certainly, yes. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'll do my best. There was quite a few items to hit, so I'll do my best to touch on as many as I can. I guess starting with Mr. Branson's, couple items I wanted to address there were the concern about the plan not meeting the county engineer's requirements for 2 road connections. I'll note that 2 connections are still proposed, one on Butte Street, one on Street B, aligning with Industrial Road. So certainly, and a third actually on Centerville. So the subdivision does provide the minimum 2 connections for emergency vehicles. Phase, with it being a phase development, the sole access for phase 1 is Butte Street. So just one access for phase 1, but future development or future phases, which will follow as soon as market uptake allows, will provide the 2nd and the 3rd connections. Another comment was related to why there are 2 stormwater management blocks, 131 and 132. Those 2 blocks are actually, 131 is meant for a park block, open space park block, and stormwater management. Block 132 will also be conveyed to the municipality as open space, but the idea in the preparation of the draft plan was that part 132 could eventually form a future Montrose Street right-of-way connection, as Stephanie mentioned in her presentation. So that's the reason between the 2 blocks there. And further down, a comment about why the stormwater management block was split into 2. Again, it was the Montrose Street extension that we had originally shown could not be facilitated through this plan, as the applicant doesn't own the lands required for that continuation of Montrose Street. So just through the evolution of the revisions of the plan, we decided to split the 2 stormwater management blocks, split the 1 stormwater management block originally proposed into 2, one for phase 1 and one for phase 2, just due to the fact that Montrose Street couldn't, both those lots all fronting that Montrose Street connection couldn't be developed, as the applicant doesn't own the land, so not feasible. And that sort of touches into another comment about why there's no connectivity to Simpson Street to the north. Again, there's no, the applicant doesn't own that land. I believe it's owned by Tender Tootsies, so he has no right or authority to make that connection. Further down on the Beecroft's comments, the desire for housing for seniors, certainly. Block 129, the medium density block. And again, the form is not currently known. It might be townhouses, it might be low-rise apartment buildings. That's up to the future owner of that block. However, it certainly, would be smaller units and more affordable units for seniors that may be looking to downsize, as would the semi-detached lots proposed in phase 1. concerns related to the servicing. Certainly, the requirement for future engineering submissions will be, and even our preliminary design is to restrict our stormwater management flows to pre-development levels. So certainly we're not proposing any, that's what those stormwater management blocks are for. So we're not proposing any increased flows to the receiving systems. So there should be no net impact on those. Preliminary discussions with municipal staff has confirmed that the sanitary capacity is available in the municipal systems. So again, that servicing is certainly feasible for the development. Touching on the cemetery, we did have some discussions with municipal staff. It's our understanding that boundary fencing is not a current requirement of municipal bylaws or otherwise. However, it's anticipated that future homeowners will want perimeter fencing. So I would say that yard fencing is quite likely, but not the requirement of the developer at this time. Speaking to the gardener's concern about the landscape buffering, I think again, I don't have a copy of Stephanie's report currently. I'm sure I will get one, but I think what she was meaning by landscape buffering in low density residential housing refers to the requirement for side and rear yard setbacks. So, I believe side yard setbacks are about 1.5 meters on one side and 3 on the other, and 6 to 8 meters rear yard setbacks, I think. So that's providing that landscape buffering from houses to neighboring properties. Regarding the Main Street speed limit, the county, through preliminary discussions with the county, I'm sure there will be a draft condition to upgrade Main Street to an urban cross section, as well as change the posting of the speed limit down to 50 kilometers an hour. And that will be from the current south limit of the urban Main Street section, continuing south to the proposed Street B. Regarding street lighting, again, those details come with the engineering submissions following draft plan approval, but street lighting will be designed and installed in accordance with municipal standards, ensuring that lighting levels are consistent with acceptable ministry levels. And regarding timing, phase 1 is planned, as soon as we can get through these approval processes. So we're hoping early 2022 to start servicing construction, and then home building construction shortly thereafter. And then phase 2 is really dependent on the market uptake. So once lots are sold out in phase 1, I'm sure John would like to proceed with phase 2 to free up some more land for development. I think that's everything on my end. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to address some of those concerns.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It's always good to see you, and we'll let Council make the decision here, and be safe. We will declare as time come to the point now, Council, where we will make a decision on this. There is a recommendation before you. Prior to that, I'll declare that the public meeting be closed at 8:22. The chair will now consider motions regarding the application. The recommendation that the planner has submitted is before you. That the plan of subdivision application 39T SM 2001 and draft plan conditions be endorsed and forwarded to the County of Middlesex for their consideration and approval. It's another process. And Council, if someone would entertain to move that or second that.
So moved. So moved.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And just keep my eyes on the screen here. And Councillor Bartlett, I see your hand there. Thank you very much. And council, we certainly open up to questions. Stephanie's still with us, so if there's any, Greg certainly is, and we'll certainly entertain any questions you have. I'll give you a minute to reflect on that. Yes, Councillor McGill, go ahead, followed by Councillor Scholdice.
Yep, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I just am a little unclear about the width of Butte Street. I'm looking at the engineer's drawing here, and I see a couple of parallel. Butte Street is shown as being narrower than Street F, possibly, and I'm just wondering if somebody could clarify that for me. The existing Butte Street.
We'll let Stephanie take a shot at that, and Greg is got his eye on the screen here and ears open. So, and Jill, of course, is with us.
Sure, through the mayor to the councillor. The existing width of Butte Street, I don't believe is proposing to be changed as part of this development. In regards to the further details of the upgrades that's required, staff and the applicant will work through that process through the draft plan conditions.
Okay, thank you. Mark, any follow-up questions to that, Mark?
I'm still a little unclear about the width of Butte Street. Is it actually narrower than Street F, narrower than the streets are going to be in the new subdivision, or not?
Steph, I can hear you thinking.
Through the mayor, again, I don't believe Butte Street is being proposed to be expanded. It's existing as is at this time. But there is also a draft plan conditioning requiring that it be upgraded to an urban standard. But based on the current road, it is narrower than the 20-meter width proposed for the other roads within the plan of subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Steph. I see Dan or Kevin nodding his head here. So I think that is Kevin. If I don't want to council to be have not the questions fully answered, and Stephanie has done a very good job. But should you wish to interject, just raise your hand, Kevin. I'll see you on the screen. Yes, Council Mark. I'm not sure if you're totally happy with that. Councillor Scholdice, your turn. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor.
Kevin did have his hand raised to answer that question.
Okay, Mike was on deck, and I'll go back to Kevin following. I saw your hand first, followed by Councillor Scholdice, and I will allow Kevin to interject in that. Go ahead, Councillor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Just like to thank Stephanie for touching on most of the previous concerns. And I know that Kevin touched on the low density beside low density, and there not being a requirement for a barrier as well. In the case of the Gardner property, will there be a barrier in place considering they are beside a stormwater holding area and potentially two streets?
And you're addressing that to Kevin or to Stephanie?
To Stephanie.
Okay, thank you, Steph. Go ahead.
Through the mayor to the councillor, draft plan condition number 8, which speaks to the subdivision agreement, will cover a number of items, including further information on buffering, drainage, planting of trees, landscaping, etc.
Okay, good. Thank you. Kevin, the chair is going to allow you the courtesy to speak. If you have some brief remarks, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Yes, just wanted to respond to the comment about Butte Street. The proposed Street F is wider at 20.1 meters. That's to meet the current municipal requirements for a local road. So any proposed roads are to current standards. The existing, as Stephanie mentioned, the existing Butte Street right-of-way, the actual right-of-way width is not being proposed to be altered. but there is a draft plan condition to upgrade the road to an urban standard, which means, you know, curbs and asphalt basically. But you know, a road width is 7 meters and can fit within the existing Butte Street right of way. So that's the reason, I guess, behind the two different widths you're noticing there. One is existing to remain, and the future is proposed meeting current municipal requirements.
Thank you, Kevin. Council, any further questions? Okay, we have the deputy mayor has moved it, and it's been seconded by Councillor Bartlett that the plan of subdivision be endorsed and forwarded to the county for consideration and approval. Council, I'll call the question. All in favor of the recommendation? All opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We want to thank those who presented their briefs on the subdivision from the public. Kevin, we want to thank you. John, if you're listening, we want to thank you for the confidence that you have in Southwest Middlesex, and staff. I know that you've worked extremely hard on this, and we'll all see it come to fruition. Continuing on 7B, there's a zoning bylaw, P6 2021, temporary use bylaw regarding 3683 Butte Street and Plan 308 Lot 9 Montrose Street. Members of the public wishing to comment on the application have been encouraged to provide written submission to the clerk. Members of the public who do not provide written submission to the clerk in advance of the meeting and decide to provide comment while the meeting is ongoing need to confirm their interest, and in so doing, during the comment recess of the meeting, make their notification that they wish to speak, and they'll be allowed. Chair Mayhew calls the meeting of 368 of P6 2021 368 83 Butte Street and Plan 308 Lot 9 Montrose Street to order at 8:31. Stephanie, if you could please present the purpose of the report and your staff report and your recommendations, please.
Certainly, thank you. So the purpose and effect of the temporary use bylaws on the subject properties are to allow and also recognize the construction of one single detached dwelling on each of the two existing building lots highlighted in yellow on your screen. Each lot will be on municipal water and private sanitary holding tanks for a maximum of 2 years and 80 days for 3683 Butte Street and 3 years for Plan 309 Lot 9 highlighted in my cursor here on Montrose Street. Whereas section 6.3.1 of the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw states that no dwelling shall be erected unless such dwelling is connected to the municipal water supply system and the municipal sanitary sewage system. The permission for sanitary holding tanks will expire after the installation of municipal sanitary sewage or running of the temporary time period, whatever occurs first. Municipal sanitary sewage is anticipated to become available through the plan of subdivision on the abutting lands within the temporary use time periods. If municipal sewage services do not become available by the end of the temporary periods, a permanent septic system is required to be installed. The obligations requiring the owners to connect to municipal/permanent servicing within the temporary use period is secured by both monetary security and Section 118 Land Titles Act registration on title, requiring the fulfillment of servicing obligations set out in the temporary use agreement. In the event that a permanent septic system is installed, the lands would need to be permanently rezoned to acknowledge that. The intent of the temporary zoning bylaw is to allow uses that are not currently permitted under the zoning bylaw for a temporary period of time while ensuring that connecting to municipal sanitary sewage shall occur as soon as it is available or properties will otherwise be permanently serviced if a municipal sewage connection is not available. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed temporary uses to permit the 2 dwellings on the subject properties to be serviced by temporary holding tanks for a short period is considered to be appropriate, given that municipal sanitary sewage is anticipated again to become available within the temporary use time period. The notice of the application has been circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. The Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority had no objections to the proposal, and CN Rail had no comments. So it is recommended that the application be approved and that the owners of the subject properties enter into a temporary use agreement with the municipality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. The applicant will be allowed the opportunity to speak at this time if they're present, Jill.
Yeah, and I would just say through you, Mayor, the municipality initiated the applications that Stephanie has provided a report on behalf of the property owners to help facilitate the agreements.
Okay. Okay. Is there any further comment other than that, Jill? Okay, then we'll go on to members' remarks. Council, if you have any concerns, perhaps direct them to our operations manager or Stephanie. Yes, Mark, go ahead. Who are you directing your question towards?
Whoever chooses to answer it. I think we have already approved this some time ago, correct? And I believe one house is already built. And maybe this is just to clear up some legal details, like I see a section in there about registering it on title. So I think I just need a little clarification on this because I don't think this is something new.
Stephanie, would you like to respond? I see you smiling there.
Or I can, either one of us.
Okay, Jill, go ahead. Yeah.
Stephanie can add to it. But yes, so council is aware that there was an agreement that the CBO presented last year and then more recently this year with respect to these 2 properties about helping to facilitate the build while this other development that council just dealt with was being proposed. And one of the conditions was an agreement be registered on title. And they were having trouble registering the existing agreement. So this is our solution to try to help facilitate that. So it's a little bit easier for them to register this and proceed.
Okay, thank you, Jill. Council will continue on with council members' questions. Yes, Councillor Bartlett, go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I was just curious to know why there was a difference in the time frame for the 2 properties.
Yes,
staff, Jill, I see your hand up there. Go ahead.
Sure. Through you, Mayor. It just, Councillor Bartlett, it just has to do with the fact that this agreement was already entered into some time ago. So we're reflecting the start date of that. What is it? 2 years and 80 days, Stephanie? Is that correct? So the one particular property, council already said, yes, that sounds good. And it's a 3-year term. We already said that a little while ago.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Continue on with questions, council. Seeing none.
Ian's got one.
Councillor Crothers.
Sorry, did I miss it? Ian, I didn't see your hand there. Thank you. You're in the dark there. Gosh.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Turn my light on.
Yeah, there.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just move we accept the application.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Scholdice, I see your hand there. Okay, that the recommendation be accepted.
do you want to close the meeting? Is
Yes,
that?
I will close the meeting. Yep, that motion came a little quicker than I anticipated. Yep, I'll declare the meeting closed. But I'll still consider the motion moved, but the recommendation moved by Councillor Crothers and Councillor Scholdice. And it's no need to read it, staff and council, it's in front of you. No more questions. I'll call the motion. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We'll move on, council, to staff reports. If anyone needs a break, just put up your hand, okay? We can accommodate you, but staff reports, there is no fire, rather. 8B, administration. There's a private property issue behind Main Street. Jill, thank you for that. And our treasurer has given us a variance report. Has enclosed it. Thank you very much, Kristen. Is there any questions or Kristen, any comments on that? Kristen, if you'd like to make any comments as to how you felt the summary of it was, or your feeling towards it? Yeah.
I think that like we're just starting out. We're just starting to get through 2020 and a lot of the entries and expenses in for 2021. So it's a fairly preliminary report, nothing standing out as alarming. I don't know what that was.
That sounded like a train.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm open to questions if anybody has any questions.
Okay, no, it's quite a good report. Thank you. Yeah, just checking hands here. Yep. Okay, well, we can move on from that. And thank you once again very much, Kristen. Let's see where I am.
I think Krista maybe has a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. I saw you scratch your ear there for a second there. And yeah, okay, go ahead.
I just moved that we received the report.
Okay, thank you very much. Seconder for that. Councillor Crothers, all in favor? Carried. Continuing on operations, Greg, I don't see anything, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, you're good.
Yep, okay, thank you. And number 9, notice of motion from Deputy Mayor.
Mark has a question.
Oh, yep, go ahead, Mark. Yep, thank you, Councillor, Deputy Mayor. Yep.
I felt like we kind of breezed by the private properties behind Main Street. And also we didn't have a motion to receive that report. Should we have a motion to receive that? And actually, I wondered if anybody wanted to comment on that report from staff.
That new agenda package doesn't have the mover and the seconder on it, and I have it written in here. Councillor McGill, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder, and we'll open it up for questions. Would someone move the receipt of the report that Jill submitted? Thank you. And Councillor McGill, Councillor Scholdice. All questions. We'll open up the floor to questions. Yes, Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just wondering if there's a possibility of having this report sent to the businesses and building owners for their consideration.
Yes, that's a very good suggestion. Yeah, we possibly could put that, Michael, in the form of a motion, if you're agreeable to that. And we let a little, so you'll move that, Councillor Scholdice. And Mark, I'm not sure if you have a question or you're seconding that motion.
Well, no, we already have a motion on the floor, and if you're willing, if Councillor Scholdice is okay with this, we could maybe add to the recommendation that a copy of the report be sent to all the affected business owners. Would that be acceptable?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's council's decision. Yeah, Councillor Scholdice, if he's comfortable with that. Michael, are you?
Yes, I am. But could we also include building owners as well as business owners? Because
by all means, yes, there are some owners. Yes, a St. Thomas resident owns 2 properties in that section, so it is a good idea. And Staff can access that, yeah. Counselor, are there any questions regarding that motion?
Deputy Mayor Wilkins has her hand up.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for your patience there. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. So I'm pretty sure this report is the result of a recent Facebook posting that you made, Mayor Mayhew. And I'm just curious why you would have put that piece in there.
Yep. Yeah, thank you for the question, Deputy Mayor. I view the existing condition in the east alleyway on Main as troubling, and I'm very much aware that not everyone shares this opinion. I brought this to the attention of the former council before I was mayor and before many of us were on council, and my concerns included at that time, and still do, the alleyway is a source of hydro, water, sanitary, and stormwater utility for an important part of our business district. It provides a second egress for those on this section of Main Street. It is the shipping and receiving area for most businesses in that block. It provides an entrance and an exit for the apartment dwellers in the core region. And lastly, it provides parking for the owners and employees on that major block. Following several concerns that were expressed to me, I contacted 5 business owners personally to suggest that they bring their concerns and ideas before council and endeavor to bring others in the business community who may share their concern and form a delegation. I don't want to give those names publicly, but if any council want to know who those 5 businesses I contacted were, certainly contact me and I'll give them to you. The effect of this was minimal. And when I saw the conversation arise again, I stated on Facebook that I would bring it back to council once more. And I'm very pleased that Jill has put this. It was my opinion that the message should come from the business community and not the mayor, should a solution be attempted to be found. I firmly believe that sometime in the future that this may come back to haunt us. In all documents I forwarded to staff, I always stated that all businesses, both on the west and east side of that alleyway, are exceptionally important to Southwest Middlesex. And should a resolve be found, it should be found amicably. The only thing I did on Facebook is when I saw the issue come forward, I said I would bring it up again. That is my answer to your inquiry, why I did it. I am still passionate about the issues that may cause, even from an investment point. And I have done some research on this. It is, should any counselor wish to see it, just send me an email. And I'll gladly send you my documents of discovery and history on it. It's, I wouldn't say extensive, but it's nearing that point. And if you want to see my appeal, that the business community would have to come forward to have some of these concerns addressed, that document is available to any of council. It has been forwarded to staff. And any of the businesses in the public, if they wish that document, by all means, don't hesitate to send me an email and I'll send you an attachment immediately. Okay.
Thank you. I just have a comment. Thank you, Jill, for putting that report together and for setting the record straight. And I am pleased that Councillor Schuldeis asked that be sent to all of the involved property owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We have a motion on the floor, and we can call it, okay? Do any council, out of courtesy, do they need that motion rewritten, or is everyone comfortable with it? Okay, I see some heads shaking there, Councillor Cal. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much, Councillor Scholdice, for your recommendation there. Okay, we'll try to find out where we are. We've heard from Krista. There's no building. We missed 8C, no building. Finance, Kristen's given a report. And we're at 9, notice of motion. Deputy Mayor Wilkins has a very current issue that she's bringing forth. Would you like to speak to that, Deputy Mayor?
I would, Mayor Mayhew, thank you. So I've read the county report from last year on the gypsy moth, and I'm well aware of their position. I would just like to point out that Middlesex County owns approximately 2,500 acres of woodlot, of which, give or take, 2,100 acres are in Southwest Middlesex. And that leaves the remaining 400 acres to be split somewhere between North Middlesex and Thames Centre. Southwest Middlesex are unique in that the lion's share of county-owned woodlots land in our backyard. Of 8 lower tier municipalities, only 3 have county woodlots, as I said earlier. Many homeowners have expressed to me that they have been battling this infestation for the last 2 years. Experts say that it's the worst case of infestation from gypsy moths they've seen ever. Businesses are struggling to keep up with the control of this invasive species. Sabi's Tree Farm, which is in the west end of Mosa Township, Ward 3, have said that they are struggling in an effort to keep up with and deal with the invasion. They have hired extra staff to help them just to deal with it, so they can try to keep it out of their product. The Wardsville golf course has been doing cut and destroying to try to control this in their golf course. It's an ongoing battle as they are next to a woodlot that has not been treated. A neighboring community with a park that is well used is infested as well, I have heard. They tell me that if you sit in the grass for 5 minutes, that you will see what crawls on you. Apparently our woodlots, county-owned woodlots, are no different. Several communities, neighboring communities in Lambton, Sarnia, London have all undertaken programs. Middlesex Centre has recently undertaken a program for their woodlots in some parks. And I did have a bit of correspondence today from Mayor Ina DeViet, and she sent that based on the field surveys conducted earlier this year, Middlesex Centre faces a significant gypsy moth infestation that could affect a number of municipal woodlots and result in a significant loss of trees if no action was taken. If you go onto their website, you can follow it along that they have undertaken a spray and they will be doing the second application in the near future in an effort to control the infestation there. Perhaps, Mayor Mayhew, by supporting this motion, that the landowner of Middlesex County would take a serious look at the infestation at the county woodlots in our community. And I would respectfully ask council to support this. I believe it's serious. I believe that we are probably 2 years too late right now. We've missed this season again, but I believe that we could be well prepared for next season. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Gay. Yes, Councillor Scholdice, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, and I'd like some discussion on this, council. Yes, Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I own 2 farms with bush on it. I haven't seen a big problem, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. My question is, though, when this spray happens, is it just on county properties or is it on all woodlots? Before we support this motion, I'd like to know the answer to that.
I think Deputy Mayor could clarify that. It was my understanding we were looking at the county's woodlots within Southwest Middlesex, but correct me if I'm wrong, Mary Gay.
That's correct, Mayor Mayhew, but I think Greg wants to add something to that.
Yep, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I'm through you, Mary Ellen. I may be able to help out a little bit with the gypsy moth, as I was part of the gypsy moth program in Eastern Ontario for a number of years. You know, at this particular point, obviously we know there's spraying going on right now because the pest is in its eating stage, which is the caterpillar stage. So, you know, they can defoliate trees. I mean, they came to this country in the late 1800s through a person in the United States in Pennsylvania that was trying to breed different caterpillars to get better spinners, basically. And this pest escape came here. Its premier host is oak. It loves oak trees, whether any type of oak species itself, it loves those. But, you know, my involvement in the program in Eastern Ontario you know, it goes back maybe 15, 20 years ago anyway now, they really, when they run out of that host, they eat just about everything. So I can, Jill, if you can I share my screen quickly?
Yeah, I don't know about quickly, but you can.
So I think you can see currently we're at number 2. So, and certainly the caterpillar is very identifiable by its blue and its red dots on its back. So a series of blue and red dots that travel about halfway down the caterpillar itself. So eventually what the caterpillar does is it eats the tree leaves and it will defoliate a tree. And then the tree tries to reflush again in the same year. And if it happens 2 or 3 years in a row, really, you know, the way I used to explain this, it's very simple, that the site itself won't be able to support the tree because of that increased deprivation of the site to refoliate constantly. So, you know, this is when the spray program happens. The spray that they're using is a biological spray. It's called Bylaw thuringiensis. It is used in all kinds of pest control for farmers, all kinds of different leaf eaters. And then you know, once the larvae or the caterpillar has finished eating, it goes into the pupa stage, then gets into the adult moth stage. You see at the top, the female moth is white. She doesn't move. She stays right at the tree, and the male moth moves around. That you can satisfy the female moth, and then you get the production of eggs. So, you know, when I look at this sort of life cycle of the pest, you know, it can be attacked in many different spots. And certainly the success of spraying has been at the larva stage. Participate in these programs as well, if they are interested. And, you know, that has happened, not just in, you know, not just in county forests, but, you know, if private people are interested. Currently right now, there is spraying going on in my municipality with a helicopter. And the spray itself is non-toxic to other animals, other species itself. It really is something, once the caterpillar ingests it, it doesn't feel like eating anymore, and then it ends up dying. So there are other ways to mitigate the issue. You know, at the egg stage, these eggs can be scraped off trees, etc. And then either, you know, we used to either burn them or soak them in bleach and water, that type of thing. And, you know, so there's other ways that they can deal with the pest as well without spraying. So, you know, there are ways to catch the actual caterpillar migrates up and down the tree. So lots of people put burlap, wrap the trees with burlap so that when the larva comes down in the evening and then goes back up during the day, it can't get by the burlap. It gets stuck in the burlap, and then you take it off daily and you kill the caterpillars. So there certainly is a real infestation going on, certainly. You know, from what I've seen lately, and I have been to several properties in you know, Mount Bridges area, where the infestation is strong. You know, I live north of London where the infestation is not that strong, but we, if you look at some of our hardwood forests that we do have, there's the possibility of the pest getting to be a problem. So, if we were successful in participating in a spraying program moving forward, that would happen this time next year. So, it does take the planning and then of course all the communication with landowners, et cetera, because it is not easy to just spray. So certainly, I don't know if that helps people to learn a little bit about the pest itself, but that is the life cycle. We can put out better information on our own websites as far as how landowners can try to mitigate the issues with the pest.
It's 21 hours.
And we can talk about that internally. So I just thought maybe that will answer some of the questions that we have.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. I know your forestry background and substantial. Yes, Councillor McGill, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm not really prepared to make a decision on this tonight. I reached out to St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, and I haven't received an answer back yet to see what their position is on it. I know in some places in Lambton County, they've been spraying things to control the gypsy moth. I don't know how successful that's been. I know the gypsy moth has been around, like Greg says, since the 1800s. And so in a way that kind of comforts me because they've been here that long. They haven't killed all the trees.
Well,
I think they go in a cycle.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, they haven't been in Canada for that since that time. They certainly migrated here after they escaped from their lab work in Pennsylvania. But we've seen them in huge numbers in the late 80s and 90s in Eastern Ontario. That's the first time I saw the gypsy moth.
Yeah, but I'd like to see the Conservation Authority's opinion on this, what needs to be done. And I'd also think everybody on council should be able to see Mark Brown's opinion on this issue. He's our county weed inspector. And, it's not going to get done this year anyway. It's too late for that. So we're not in a rush. So I think we can, I'd like to actually table this until we get more information.
Okay, yes, Councillor Cowell, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Krista.
Just trying to get myself unmuted. Thank you. So I also reached out to the Lower Thames Conservation Authority, and I have not yet heard back either. But in the process of finding information about this, I came across the St. Clair Conservation Authority's recent information from February 2021, where they talk about the gypsy moth infestation that's happening in Lambton Shores, Sarnia, and Plimpton, Wyoming, and how they've run a program actually at the Pinery Provincial Park because of how bad this defoliage is happening in the provincial park. I also know that the community of Port Franks, the individual homeowners, have bonded together to pay for this service themselves because of how dramatic the defoliation is in their community. Additionally, the Upper Thames Conservation Authority is the organization that's responsible for the City of London's trees, and they have over 6,000 trees that they scrape the eggs off of in the City of London to try and maintain this issue. And I don't think that we have the staff. I'm not sure the county has the staff to run a program like that on, 2,400 acres. So I think that a spray is the best way to do it. So I will be supporting this tonight because I think it'll get the process started at the county level.
Okay, thank you. Councillor, is there any other comment? Yes, Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I agree with Councillor McGill. No reason that we couldn't maybe have a report from Jill, and Jill can maybe look into with the conservation authorities and Mark Brown, so that we have all the correct information when we vote on this.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Yep. Yes, Deputy Mayor Wilkins, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just comment to Councillor Vink. We're not asking Southwest Middlesex to undertake this, Councillor Vink. We're asking the county. That's all we're doing tonight. And as Councillor Cowell has said, this is going to take some time to prepare. County can't move on this in a month or two. So this gives them about 11 months to get their plan together. I don't see any need for our staff to waste their time coming back with the report, quite frankly. They're busy enough as it is.
Okay. Yes, Councillor McGill, go ahead.
Yeah, just a follow-up comment. It's quite a thing to undertake aerial spraying. And I know some products they kill the bad bugs, but then they kill the good bugs too. And there's other things that kind of follow a cycle. Gypsy moths may be around for a few years, and then the cycle, like now, is peaking, and then for whatever reason the cycle will go the other way, and it won't be as big of a problem in the future. And I'd just like to get all the information I can before I make a decision.
Okay, thank you, Mark, for your words. Any other questions? Yes. I have done some work on this too. As you know, I'm a kind of a naturalist. I like the bush. I spend quite a bit of time in it when I can. And
Mayor Mayhew, if you're going to debate this, you have to remove yourself from the chair.
I was just going to offer you the gavel, Deputy Mayor, if you'd give me the chance. So I was going to ask if you would be kind enough to take the gavel. So
I most certainly will.
Courtesy to me that I extend to you.
Most certainly I will, Mayor Mayhew. Are there any other questions regarding this motion? Mayor Mayhew.
I think as your county representative, I think I agree with Mark that you need information on this. Mark Brown is very well thought of by county council. This has been before county council in the past. He has given Gypsy Moth preliminary 2021 update. It is available for council. And I think it's important to make knowledgeable, informed decisions. And I know that it's a problem, and I appreciate the deputy mayor bringing this to council. I think it has to be discussed, but I don't want it to be rushed. For one, the cost of spraying skunk's misery, the preliminary estimates are approximately $2 million to spray that. You also have to realize that that spray that they use, aerial spray, is water soluble. If you don't get it timed right and it rains, it's of absolutely no effect at all. Some of this is a cycle, a boom bust cycle they call sometimes. And yes, we are at a boom, but our particular region, according to the documents I have in front of me from Mark Brown, is not at see if I is observations in the county are that defoliation is localized and not widespread or severe in nature, and is most likely limited due to the following factors: diverse forest species, relatively intact ecosystem, healthy predators, and of course, as Greg said, they prefer oak. But Mark's thing, I think we should really discuss this as a council, that we should, I'll let the people, our constituents know that it's on our radar, we're aware of it, but we have to make a good fiduciary decision and an effective decision. And I think those reports from 2 conservation areas would be very, very good, and possibly Sarnia-Lambton, the municipality of Sarnia-Lambton as well. So that's all I have to say. I support the deputy mayor's intention, but I think it's premature to go to county council at this time with the information that I've seen. And I have to base my decisions on this particular subject on science and the expertise of our woodland conservation officer, Mark Brown.
Mayor Mayhew, I'll hand the gavel back to you, and I'd like to comment on that.
Yep, go ahead. Thank you.
If Southwest Middlesex owned 2,100 acres of woodlot in our community, we would be expected to control the station. I do not understand why there's some type of resistance from you, Mayor Mayhew, to take this to County Council. They are the owners of that 2,100 acres. It is their responsibility to control that. That's all I have to say on this. I'd like you to call it, please, Mayor Mayhew. Enough debate.
Well, that's up to the chair whether there's enough debate. I am not afraid to take this to County Council. All in favor of the motion? All opposed? Motion carries. Oh, am I? Yes, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was so much
Oh,
by multiple people. I would like to ask for a recount.
all right. I'll recount. Okay. I'll call the question again.
Can we do a recorded vote, please?
That would be even better.
That's a great idea, Councilor Kell. Thank you.
I'm gonna go first. Yes.
Okay.
That's not great. So I'm saying yes. It's me. I record my vote.
Yeah, we'll give Jill a chance to get set up here.
Okay, so Councillor Cowell requested the recorded vote. So Councillor Vink.
No.
Councillor Bartlett.
Yes.
Councillor Scholdice.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor Mayhew.
No.
Councillor McGill. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
No. Oh, I'm muted. No.
Councillor McGill.
No, and I did not hear Councillor Vink's vote because he was frozen.
Oh, okay. So Councillor Vink said no. Councillor Carruthers.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I can hear. So I have Councillor Cowell is yes. Councillor Vink is no. Councillor Bartlett as yes. Councillor Scholdice is yes. Deputy Mayor is yes. Mayor Mayhew is no. Councillor McGill is no, and Councillor Carruthers is yes. So that carries.
Okay, thank you very much, Jill. Thank you, Kat. Correspondence and petitions. Jill, I don't think there's any. Correct? Oh, my internet. Yeah, we have some unstable internet here. Council, can you hear me? I need a confirmation on that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, I this time of the night, unfinished business. I don't believe there is any. I'll look at Jill. I don't think there is. We'll move on. New business. There is none.
Did we all get kicked out?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. It's not just me who has crummy internet.
So Jill, did we lose the mayor and the deputy mayor?
It looks like it, but I think maybe we can just give them a couple of more minutes. I can resend out the invitations. We're still streaming, we're still going, so just a temporary glitch, hopefully.
I was already having the glitch during the recorded vote, Jill.
Yes, me too. I'm just having trouble hearing people. Is that what you were having?
Yes, I wasn't hearing anything for a little bit of that recorded vote.
Same here, Martin.
Yeah. So that's why the whole thing was a little confusing.
No.
Just the bylaw.
It is, but we.
Do we pass them without a chair?
We have
Someone
5.
would have to be selected as a chair. I will, but I'll send this link to these folks. We'll just maybe give them a minute. But if not, then yes, you can select a chair from amongst yourselves and move along because you do have quorum.
Epic game of rock, paper, scissors.
I think this is the worst internet we've ever had. I think the wind is doing it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
We had huge solar storms on the sun the last day or two, so they've been saying we may get some effects out of that.
Hmm.
Well, I think we were all done the agenda anyway, right?
We just have to pass the bylaws.
Yeah, just the bylaws, yes.
Do we need a chair? Can I just make the motion that we pass all the bylaws for second and third reading? Someone second it.
Technically, you do need a chair, so maybe you want to go with the longest serving council member, perhaps?
That sounds good.
Martin, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Krista. Thank you, Jill. We are now at the stage of bylaws. Can we have a mover and a seconder for the bylaws? Krista and Mike. Maybe you can help us, Jill, whether we're looking at first, second, and third.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got bylaws 45, 46, and 48 to receive first, second, third reading, and then bylaw 47 just to receive first and second, and that was with respect to the zoning.
So moved.
Okay, and Mike, you will second that?
Absolutely, Mayor Vink, or sorry, Councillor Vink.
Okay, close enough. All approved? Pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as we could, though.
As soon as we could would be my recommendation. I would get confirmation from Jill. I did send her a text, but haven't got anything back from her yet.
Yeah, I've got nothing back from Councillor Cowell either. And I sent one to Councillor Bartlett. I've not heard back from him either. So I'm thinking that there's really bad connections. So it might be a good idea just to cancel or the meeting and, well, wait, I'm getting something here from Councillor Cowell.
Yeah, I had unstable internet come up on my computer. Yeah, it's working now. Yeah,
but it's just wired like this. I turned everything off, so it's not.
Jill, how are you?
Hey, Alan.
Hi, we've got about 2 councillors.
This is like
So
a game
Councillor
show.
Cowell says that it's showing that she's in that we're in a separate meeting. Hello?
It's never been like this, eh, Alan? Ever. No, he's still up. He's actually one that usually has trouble with his internet, but
Apparently, we are in a separate meeting and we are live and everybody is hearing what we're talking about and the others are watching us and listening to us. So I think it's probably best to go out of this meeting.